Okay. Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to give it a second for people to join because there were some issues. I don't know what YouTube did. I set these up as a pre a pre-show that alerts people so that they can write comments in advance and all kinds of things, and it wanted me to connect some encoder software which I have never seen before and it was a brand new thing this week. So I am live right now. Hello, Laurie Micah. I am the host of the Laurie Micah YouTube channel where I primarily interview people who have had near death experiences, but also anything spiritual, channelers, mediums, past life regressionists. And I am going to give it a minute for people to get on this version of the live because the one that I tried to post would not allow me to go live. So I'll give it a second. Please tell me in the comments, do you hear me? I know sometimes we've had some audio issues, so hopefully all is well tonight. But hi, Donna. Hi, Leanda or Leanne Davis. Okay, yes, great. Excellent. Woo, well, I'll tell you what, since I was with you guys last Wednesday, it has been quite the journey. If you notice, my background's a little different today. I don't use a fake background. The one that you usually see in my lives is my actual house. I have that giant earth background that is a mural in the living room of my house. But I am coming to you live from my log cabin. I have a little teeny tiny log cabin in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And over the last week, I traveled here. So, instead of talking about signs and synchronicities to open this up, I want to talk about a little something different. And I want to talk about how everything is happening for us and not to us. So while I'm talking about this, I want to hear from you. This live is actually for you and about you. So if you have questions that you would like to ask, please, please, please put those questions in the chat right now. If you have a name that isn't obvious what your name is, please let me know who you are. Patrick, who lives in, I think he's in Sweden, he left me a message on my other live that was supposed to post, and he had a question. So I'm going to start with his, and I will let anybody else who wants to ask something today ask something. So while you guys are putting your comments and your questions in the chat, I will go ahead and share one of the biggest revelations, one of the biggest lessons that I personally have learned over the last, I'm going to say maybe 3 years, is really coming to terms, coming to grips with this idea that everything is happening for you and not to you. And I mean everything, 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 not just when things are going well, not when things are absolutely splendid and you are over the moon about things that are happening in your life, but understanding that even the mundane things, even the things that we as humans would label bad, unwanted, negative, are all happening for us. And so I want to share a little bit of my journey to get where you see me here at my cabin today. So I live in Arizona for most of the year, and I've been very fortunate to a few years ago buy this little teeny tiny log cabin in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's in the woods. I don't come here in the summer to escape the Arizona heat. I actually like the Arizona heat, but there are things that I can do here that I can't do anywhere else. I spend a lot of time hiking in the woods. I kayak and I blueberry pick. And this is my kind of my downtime. And this is the very first time that I have ever come here to my cabin, to my sanctuary, where I am doing a live. And I am going to be online with you guys every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, to spend some time with you throughout the summer when this is kind of my downtime and my hiatus. Normally for this channel, in addition to my full-time corporate job, I usually interview 5 people a week in order to keep my channel going. But when I come to the cabin, I usually bank up the interviews so many in advance that I don't have to do interviews while I'm here. Well, that didn't work out this year, so I'm going to be doing a couple of interviews a week from the cabin. and then editing, of course. So I edit my own videos, so it's a lot of work. But to get here, it's like 2,000 miles away from where my regular house is. So I had an adventurous trip, and I would just want to share with you guys what happened on my trip and how this relates back to how everything is happening for us and not to us. So, when you travel, you plan in advance, right? You have your path, you get your maps out, you figure out, and I mean by maps, I mean on your phone in the analytics now, not the old time maps like we used to. And you kind of plan like what your journey is going to look like. So, in order for me to come here, on the way home, I do this in two 18-hour, like a actually like a 13-hour drive and then a 20-hour drive. I do them back to back on the way home to get back. But on the way to my cabin, I lose 3 hours of time zone. So I start off in the Pacific time zone, and right now I'm in the Eastern time zone. So I have to account for that. So when I left my house at 8 a.m. Phoenix time, and my intention was to drive all the way to Oklahoma. It was like a 13-hour drive, and I was going to stay overnight. And then I was going to get up the next morning and drive 6 hours and spend the day with my sister in Kansas. So that was the plan. Well, I had an issue with my Jeep, and before I left, and the dealer couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. But they told me if the engine light blinked, then I needed to stop driving immediately. And so if it was on as a steady light, it's fine. You could drive it. But if it blinks, that's trouble. And that had never happened before. So, of course, this happens to me 7.5 hours into my drive. I was in New Mexico, and all of a sudden that engine light started blinking. I actually got a full adrenaline rush. And luckily for me, I was only 15 minutes away from a dealership in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I went to the dealership. They diagnosed the problem, but they were able to get a little bit more specific than the dealership had in Arizona. But they're like, I'm sorry, it's Memorial Day weekend. We don't have anybody really to work on your vehicle until Tuesday. And this was Friday. You're going to have to stay here, and then we're going to have to order parts, and we're going to have your Jeep for like a week. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not staying in a hotel in New Mexico with my dog while I'm waiting for my Jeep to get fixed. And they recommended I not drive the Jeep, but I knew kind of what I was dealing with this issue, and I decided I was going to do it anyway and take the risk and take the chance. And I thought if I could just get to my sister in Kansas City and I could have a dealership work on it there, at least I could stay with her and be okay for the week. So I called the dealership. They said, sure, come in at 8 o'clock the next morning, which meant that I had to drive until 5:30 in the morning. So I'd started my journey at 8 a.m. and I did not finish it until 5:30 a.m. Central Time. So I got to the dealership. They did the best they could. They eliminated all the things that it wasn't, and then they had to wait for somebody to come in to fix it on Tuesday. So I wound up renting a car, driving 13 hours from where my sister is all the way up to the cabin and spending the week here while they're fixing my Jeep. And it's so interesting that as I told this story to a few colleagues, because a lot of people I work with knew that I was doing this drive, I had so much sympathy. People kept saying things like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that that happened. And that's a normal reaction, right? Except I didn't feel that way about what happened. Again, I'm really telling you that I am trying to live what I talk about. And I really and truly did not ever once look at this as a problem, an issue, a negative, something that needed to be examined, worried about. And so today, when I was hiking and I was thinking about what do I want to talk about on this live, I want to talk about this because I'm really convinced that the way we respond to things determines how we feel about them. It creates a story that we tell about the events that happen in our lives. And we can look at things so many different ways. It's kind of the glass half full and the glass half empty, right? To some degree. And I get it. Sometimes things are super tragic, and it's okay to get mad. I'm not saying that we shouldn't get mad. We shouldn't react when these things happen. But I think misery comes when we react to things because of the story that we tell ourselves, that makes a situation worse than it has to be. So, what I did was I never thought poorly of this. I didn't love that I had to spend $350 on a rental car to get myself up to my cabin and let them work on my car while they had it, because I just had some obligations that I needed to take care of up here. I decided to look at it as a blessing, because what I don't know is what would have happened if I had been on a different path. Like, what would happen if I had stayed overnight at the hotel in Oklahoma? I got broken into one time when I was in Amarillo, Texas, when I was traveling to my cabin. So maybe my car would have gotten broken into and things would have been stolen, or glass would have been broken, and had to deal with all that, which would have been worse in a lot of ways. What if I had have gotten into an accident, and by being on this different path, I avoided something that would be worse than having to be inconvenienced by having to have my car fixed in the middle of Kansas City and driving through the night. So the other thing is, for me, like, I just use that time to be able to talk to as many people on my travels as I wanted to catch up with, because we oftentimes don't have enough time in our lives to sit and just talk to people. And if they have time for us and we have time for them, like, what a blessing. So that's how I looked at the whole journey. And I just feel grateful. I felt grateful that the dealership was so kind and thoughtful and so communicative with me, and worked so hard to try and get parts more quickly because they knew my situation, so that they could get my car fixed faster. I felt grateful that I was able to spend a little bit more time with my sister because I got to see her early. Like, there are so many things that we can look at in life that we can be grateful for, not just like big things and milestones, but little teeny tiny things to be grateful for. And so that's what I picked. That's what I chose. And I'm not telling you this because I want you to think of me in a certain way. I'm just sharing that as I've gotten deeper and further into this journey, into understanding things from different perspectives, I think that our happiness, our set point for joy, our set point for just being satisfied in our lives, our ability to stay in the present moment is all predicated on the stories that we tell ourselves. So, if we can find ways to look at things through a different lens, and if we can understand that we don't know what we don't know, and when things happen that we label as bad, inconvenient, negative, terrible, what if those things avoided something far worse than we can imagine? And so, if we look at things that way, then maybe it makes life a little bit more joyful. Maybe it allows us to be more in the present moment and have peace with things as they unfold, because we don't always have control over everything that happens around us. So, anyway, that's what I wanted to share today. And now I would like to answer a comment that Patrick's been following this channel for a really long time. He's Kara Bestendinger and a number in the comments. You guys have probably seen him if you've been in the comments quite a bit. And he's in a different time zone. And so he asked me, he wanted to know if, over the last several guests that I've had on the show, if I had any insights or anything that stood out that I could share with everybody about the last few interviews. So I guess I'll name the ones that came up most recently. So today, Craig was an interview that I released. He had a near-death experience because he was murdered. I also very recently had Angie on the show, and Angie, she's a channeler, and she also had a lot of really cool out-of-body experiences, and she channels a group of entities called the Wisdom Keepers. And I also very recently talked to Kara and to Dr. Reverend Honey. And I've just had some really deep, profound conversations with people. I love how this channel's evolving. I really love the depth of the conversations and the depth of questions that we're getting into, because I always tell my guests before I begin recording, they are holding gold nuggets, because not only did they have this experience, but it's taken them years to integrate these experiences into their lives. And if I can ask the deep enough questions, then I can find the gold nuggets that they're holding on to, and I can take those gold nuggets and throw them to you. And you can extrapolate that information to implement it into your life in whatever way makes your life better. And that is such a blessing and such a fun thing. So I guess I'll touch on a few of those interviews that I've had recently. And I will say a couple of them have really blown me away. Kara, I talked about her a couple of times. We were supposed to talk on the road. I did call her, but she didn't answer. And then I didn't get a chance to call her back. I'm actually hoping I have to go back to Kansas City, you guys. This is so crazy. I have to go to Kansas City this weekend to return my rental car and pick up my Jeep. So on Friday, I'm driving 13 hours back to Kansas City. And then I'm staying overnight. I'm seeing my sister in the morning. And then I'm driving 13 hours back to the cabin again. And I'm not mad about it, because again, it's downtime that I can connect with some of the people who I wanted to talk to on my ride and didn't get a chance to talk to. And Kara's actually one of them. So I'm hoping to connect with her. But what I loved about her was when somebody comes into this incarnation awake, and Kara was so awake that as a child, she had a near death experience and she connected with water and the sentience of water. And so she saw things in the physical world much differently through different eyes than we see them when we come in, when we are maybe not as awake as she is. She had these cool abilities. And if you haven't checked out her interview, I do highly recommend it. But one of the abilities she had was her parents would turn on the radio and she would tell them the name of the song and a couple of lyrics for the next song that was going to come on, which was undeniable that something was going on with her, right? Like that's so much evidential evidence. Like nobody can slough that off as coincidence. She was really young when that was happening. And because of that, she's just been connected and she's had really unique experiences and she uncovered her soul's purpose. And as she aged, she kept uncovering more and more and more of her past memories, not just memories from this lifetime, but memories from many, many, many past lifetimes. She knows that she has lived on this planet for about the equivalent of like 70,000 years of experiences. And so she came in with a little bit different purpose than the average person. Her purpose wasn't to wake up because she did that. She came in awake and didn't really close that off. She didn't have the veil of forgetfulness the way that a lot of us do. And I think she's mentioned that she has retained or been able to tap into now 83% of her past memories. Imagine how different your life would be if you not only knew without a doubt that you had had previous lives, but you could connect to them and remember different things, experiences that you could bring in the wisdom from those experiences into this one. So that's what she's doing. And she has this special job where she's anchoring different kinds of energy with groups of people that she's meeting with around the world, which is helping somehow with the great awakening that we're going through. So I was really, really touched by Kara's interview. I also really loved my interaction that I had with Angie. Angie channeled the Wisdom Keepers. Her whole demeanor, everything about the way she spoke changed when she connected to them. And the wisdom that they were bringing through felt very, very real to me. I felt close to tears, very emotional as they were talking. Like there was some kind of an energy connection going on. Reverend Honey, her interview didn't go to as many people. It wasn't as popular on the channel. I don't know why, but she had an incredible experience where she had a car accident when she was 7 and she rose above the car and she saw everything from not her 7-year-old perspective, but from her ancient soul perspective. So she was woken up very early in her incarnation and she's doing amazing, beautiful things in this world. And again, so much wisdom. Like I feel so lucky to have these conversations and I'd love to know what you guys think about all of these things. So Patrick, that was for you. I hope that that was what you were looking for with an explanation of some of these recent ones. If you have something more specific that you want me to speak to, I'm happy to do that. So I'm going to check in the comments. So I'm so glad you guys are here with me tonight. Thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to be here. I always greatly appreciate the connections with each of you. And I know as we probably go into the summer, it'll be more and more difficult for people to join. But of course, you always have the replay. And I think that these process and get released the next day within the first 24 hours. So you can always check that out. But Leanne Davis, thank you so much for being here. You'll notice that some people have these little crowns next to their name, and that's because they've written a lot of comments where I've liked their comment or responded to their comments. Donna, why you don't have a crown next to your name is beyond me because I feel like I interact with you so much in the comments. But hi to you. Thank you so much for all of the participation that you personally add to. You ask people questions, you interact with others, and I just love that you're part of this community. So thank you so much. Let's see. We have Black Cat. Nice to be here. Nice to have you. Please tell me what your name is. I'm sure it's not really Black Cat. Thank you for the thumbs up. I super appreciate it. Okay. You are saying to me, it's the one thing we can try to control is our response. No rush on panic. Yep, I agree. Absolutely. All right, we've got Mikey here, and he says, hello, cool cabin. Thank you. You guys, what you don't know about me, about my cabin, is that I have flipped several houses. I'm actually really handy. I have tons of tools and I did massive amounts of work on this cabin. I actually tore down a wall, moved a wall with my friend. My friend and I put that fireplace in behind us that was not original to the cabin. I did all the trim around the windows. I recaulked all the logs. I actually orbital sanded all of the walls that are white and whitewashed them. I put in a brand new floor in here. I ripped out the kitchen, put in a new kitchen, ripped out the bathroom, put in a new bathroom. And maybe at the end, I will show you guys the penny floor that I did in my bathroom 2 summers ago. I used 14,500 pennies and did this cool penny floor. The epoxy didn't turn out as nicely as I would like it to, but the penny floor is super cool. But I love to do these these big projects. So this cabin was a super, super labor of love. And I just love being able to come here. And I've never shared it with anybody before. So it's kind of weird being on here with you guys, but welcome to my cabin. Okay. Great to see you taking some time with nature. Oh my gosh, Mikey, every single day. I'm an everyday hiker. I spend my morning in before I start my corporate job every day hiking unless the weather doesn't permit it. Like I have to be outside. Nature is my sanctuary. I don't feel right if I don't spend time in nature. The first thing I did when I woke up this morning was hiked. I had some time at lunch. I hiked again. And at the end of the day, I took Blaze on like a 4 mile hike. And I cannot hike enough. I super love it. But I don't know if it's just the exercise. I think more of it is the time in nature. Nature is so special. Trees are definitely sentient. And I think it's just a way to reconnect with what and who we really are. So, yes, thank you. I feel like, oh, Howard Storm on the podcast. I feel like you could have a powerful convo. Okay, thank you very much. Stephanie, my sister, I don't think she's on tonight, but she always rewatches these lives, which is crazy. Like I don't spend enough time talking to her. I talk to her almost every day, yet she watches the lives. And Stephanie, Howard Storm, maybe you can reach out to him when we are doing our scheduling again in September. Okay, thank you so much. Diane, I love those adventurous road trips. I mean, that was beyond adventurous, wasn't it? I have had these types of experience traveling abroad. You really have to live in the present moment. I agree. I bet everybody could relate in some way to the story that I told. Like, there's nobody who escapes the, I don't know, travel fiasco, the fiasco that travel is. I'm sure everybody has. Okay. Hi, Donna. They all have something different to teach us. Absolutely. Black Cat says, I really get a lot from this show as someone that has experienced similar things. Oh, thank you. That's wonderful. Hi, Donna Bennett. Shout out to you listening on your drive home. Well, drive safely, pay attention to the road. But thank you, as always, for being here. And Donna Bennett, thank you so much for all of your comments that you make on the videos. I love reading every single comment. Like I recognize you guys. I know you're here. I cannot always answer you when you put comments out on these videos. Like this week was really hard because I was traveling so much, and my corporate job's really busy. It's our end of year. We end our year at the end of June. So I have this really active sales job and I have to like really participate in that too. But I so appreciate you. I read the comments, even if I don't interact with them right away. But thank you everybody so much. Oh, and by the way, we are 3 subscribers. When I checked before I went on this live, I'm 3 subscribers away from 22,000 subscribers on this channel. And we're getting so close to 2 million views on this channel. Like it's growing. And I've been really excited as these videos have started to get more reach when they're first released. It's just like, how does it take so many, like 600 videos I've put on the channel? A lot of those are shorts, but I think we've done over 400 interviews now. So it's crazy. And I'm just excited to watch it continue to grow and reach more people and help more people that are on their journey to waking up. So, oh my gosh, you said you're on bed rest. What in the world did you do? I'm so glad that you're here. Okay. I'm laughing at your badass comment. That's funny. I actually had a hiking business called Badass Adventures for a while, which was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. Okay, Diane says, regarding life reviews, what about events that we have remorse for in this life that we don't really want to relive in our life review? How do we mitigate those? Okay, that's a wonderful question. And I think that that is such a great topic to cover. So, what I would like to say about that is having talked to so many people who have had life reviews, the one thing I want to remind you about is that when you have your life review, it's you, but not the you that's sitting here listening to this right now. So I guess I'll explain it this way. You've heard people talk about the higher self, the higher soul, the oversoul. There are many, many names for it. In the beginning, when I was having my out of body experiences with my 5-MeO DMT journeys, that was where I went, was to my higher self, and I had experiences with my higher self. What's interesting is when you're in that space and you have an experience with your higher self, your ego is still online. You're still you. You are just a more detached version of you. And I don't mean detached in a negative or a bad way. I mean, your ego isn't quite the same. So, the intact part of the ego was that I knew that I was living a life on this planet as me, as Laurie, Micah, as I was having that experience as my higher self. But at the same time, I didn't have any judgment for myself or the life that I was living. And if I were going to think about my Laurie experience as my higher self, I would probably refer to it in the third person as her experience, because the higher self version is a culmination of all of the incarnations. And I don't just mean earthly ones, but all of the experiences that you have gathered since your soul was in existence. So that could be earth experiences. That could be experiences as your higher self in the cosmos with whatever we do when we're not having like an earthly experience. It could be experiences as other entities that are on other planets or in other dimensions or realms or whatever you want to refer to it as. So, what I do know is that when people have had their life reviews, they have a little bit of a detached perspective. And the part of them that reacts where they're very upset about things that have happened in their lives as they're re experiencing them is because they came back to the human experience. I believe if you truly died, not a near death experience, but you really and truly died and you're not coming back into a human incarnation, I think that you will have a life review. And I don't think that you will have these places of regret the way that we do. Now, maybe to some degree, but I think everything on an emotional level would not feel the same as the emotions that we have when we're human. So I don't want you to have any fear trepidation, rumination over you experiencing something that you label here as negative in your life review. Because remember at the beginning how I talked about everything was happening for you and not to you? You truly, from this perspective right now, have no idea what you've set up for yourself. What did you come here that you, as a soul, wanted to have in the human realm as an experience? We do not set ourselves up for rainbows, unicorns, and great experiences. We want to have different experiences that are not always something that in our human body, with our human mind and perspective, that we would label as positive. We have lots of different experiences. But one of the other things that I know that you can do from this human experience while you're in your human body right now is you can find a way to, number one, forgive yourself for any part that you had in an experience that you are either not proud of, you don't like, that you want to kind of maybe make it easier for yourself when you do get to the other side. If that experience involves somebody else, you can reach out to that other person in some way. It doesn't have to be an in-person contact. It could be by writing them a letter. You don't even have to give it to them. You can burn it. You can ask for forgiveness. Forgiveness, remember, isn't really about another person. Forgiveness is about you. It's about you releasing you from experiences that you have had, you letting go energetically of those. If the person that this is that is involved with you that was in this experience either is somebody that you can't reach or somebody who is no longer on this earth plane, you can talk to them out loud. You can write them a letter, an email, and you can read it out loud to them or whatever makes it better. And I have heard people who have done these different things and then experienced what they would have said is a bad experience much more lightly, less connected to deeper emotions, stronger emotions. So I think you have the ability to mitigate some of those, what you would call a negative experience. But remember, from your higher self perspective, when you have your life review, you not only will see it from your earthly perspective and become all of the players who were involved in that experience and get to see all the ripple effect, but you'll also see why you desired to have a specific experience. And so the mystery will be gone. There will be no true judgment. There will just be an understanding beyond anything that you could have in this human constraint. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's helpful for not just you, but for all the other people. We all have things in our life that we wish we had done differently. Nobody escapes that if you've lived long enough in this human experience. So try to come to resolution with those experiences before you leave this planet and have your life review. But then also forgive yourself because you don't always know what you set yourself up to experience. So I hope that really helps you. Okay. Emily said, wow, nice job. Hello. I saw the live pop up, but I've missed your recent shows. I'm excited to watch the Jesus one. I'm obsessed with Jesus and the NDEs he's in. Okay. I love that you said that. So I want to share something that I want to create that I want to work on this summer. Because I get to have some downtime. One of the things that happens when I'm at my cabin is I don't have a ton of friends who live up here. It's really remote. And so I get a lot of alone time. And that means I get to spend some time working on projects that are not construction related projects. And I am going to be creating a repository for the interviews that I've done that will have kind of a search engine on it. So that's what I'm working on. So Emily, who said that you love NDEs with Jesus, you'll be able to search through all of the interviews that I've ever done, and you'll be able to put Jesus, and it will give you a hot link that will allow you to go and watch that. I don't know if it'll be specific to that exact portion or if it'll just go into the interview that has like a Jesus connection. But I think that you will actually get text back for the section that will show you what was said in that interview about Jesus. And you could apply that to anything. You could search for like Archangel Michael, you could search for life reviews, you could search for astral travel or past life regressions, or whatever any type of collective had to like channeled messages, etc. So I'm trying to create these super interactive platforms so that you can gain more knowledge and information about things that you are specifically interested in with a special repository. So that's what I'm working on this summer. So stay tuned. Hopefully by the beginning of the fall, when I'm leaving my cabin, I'll have something set up and ready to go. But I'm really excited. It's been something I've been thinking about for a long time that I want to be able to give to my community. Okay. The feeling is so not like on Earth. Yes, I'm sure. We're here to grow deeply. The contrast is the draw. Okay, so I'm going to address that since you use the word grow. So I'm going to caveat my, I've changed with this over time. I used to talk a lot about this being an Earth school, but in light of many of my recent deeper experiences on the other side, where I became the all, not just the collective, but the source of all as that magnificence, I just want to say from the source perspective, I do not believe, and I believe this super strongly now, I do not believe that there is anything that source needs. That would be ego, that would be human. I don't think it needs anything. I don't think it needs another perspective. I don't think it needs to understand an experience in a different way. The more I've had these journeys, the more I think that this is a game that we as source plays, and we are all of the players in the game. And I think that the objective is to wake up, because when people truly wake up spiritually, the natural evolution is that after you wake up, you realize you must be in service in some way for the collective. And that's where we become more of the state of being of love versus loving, which is what we are on the other side, the state of being of love. So I will agree with you that on a soul level, when I am the Laurie soul aspect of source, you are the aspect of source as you, all of you watching. There are things that we refine. I don't know if learn is the right word anymore. We are these magnificent, powerful, eternal souls. So, do we really need to learn? I don't know if that's the right word. Maybe refine, understand, maybe experience from perspective. But ultimately, when we understand that there really is no other, then there's nothing that is already not understood, because the power and beauty and magnificence of Source is beyond any human mind understanding, any intellectual understanding. It's like knowledge beyond knowledge beyond knowledge. It's not knowledge like I understand quantum physics. I could tell you exactly how everything works at the cellular level, at the atomic level, how the universe was formed. It's so beyond that. I don't have human words. And the new way that I'm trying to describe these experiences with becoming the source is I can describe 1/10 of 1% of what that is. That's it. That's how minuscule my lack of human language and inadequacy of human language is to explaining what the source is. And it's not like it's just me. Absolutely not. It is all of us. It is having a you experience, a me experience, and it's magnificent, and it's utter perfection. That's another thing I'll say about it. It's just utter perfection. So, okay. It's like the last of these comments. We're getting to the end of these. It was very okay. Diane said it was very helpful and wonderfully explained. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that that's helpful. Okay, Juan, I love the human experience, good or bad. My soul grows, and that's what counts. Yes, I think you totally evolve and you understand and experience things in a different way than you ever have in this unique human experience, which you'll only ever be this one time. So, yes, I think we relish the time that we have here because one of the bigger illusions of being here in this human experience is that you think you're here for 20, 30, 40, 50, 80, 100 years. In reality, it's like you're here for seconds from the perspective of the soul. It's I'm trying to remember who I spoke to. It was Gareth Dignam. Gareth Dignam and I had two really deep conversations. He is an astral traveler. I loved talking to him, and in the very first interview I did with him, he said that he remembered an experience on the other side where they were holding up like these virtual reality goggles, and they're like, "Okay, the human experience is like it's 10 minutes." He was a soul, right? And they're like, just look in there." And he puts them on, and as soon as he put them on, he said he was drawn into, and it's like you were going through a tunnel, like the tunnel that people see when they leave and have a death experience sometimes. And he was like, "Oh no, 10 minutes on the earth side, but oh my god, 80 minutes." And he went into a body and he was just like, "Oh fudge," only he didn't say fudge. So that's probably how it really works, but to us, it just feels like we're here forever and ever and ever. But anyway, okay, let's see. One said, I think this is the same one you were reading. It's not the same knowing than experience. I would know how to do something by watching or reading it, but doing it is different. We're here to experience. Absolutely. 100%. And I like to say it that way rather than say learn. We are here to experience 100%. It is the core part of this human game is for the joy of the experience. And when I say joy of the experience, I don't mean just the good ones. I mean all experiences. From a soul level, there is a joy that we experience, even though my human mind is like, damn it, that happened and I wish it didn't, or I wish I could do this differently. I mean, we make so many mistakes here, right? Or things that we label as mistakes. But on a soul level, I think we relish every experience, all of it. Because, of course, on a soul level, we can never be harmed, right? That's the caveat that I think everybody has to understand is the soul can never be harmed. So what feels like trauma, what feels like injury, illness, disease, anything that we would label with a negative connotation here doesn't really harm our soul. On the other side, we are whole, magnificent, powerful beings that are in a state of being of eternity. Eternity is a state of being. It's not a time constraint. It's an ever present moment that's perfected. It's utter bliss. And for those of you who have had near death experiences, you absolutely know what I mean. Okay. This is Donna said she's home, had so many synchronicities on Sunday. I was super happy. Yes, I saw that you wrote, Donna, that you had a synchronicity that was like a life changing, like a game changer for you. I would love for you to share that with me. And if you want to share it on sciencearoundyou@gmail.com, you can email me. I know sometimes we don't want to put all of the personal stuff in the comments, but if you want to share what happened to you on Sunday, I would love to hear it. So up to you, but no pressure to do so, please. Okay. Zen says, question, is reincarnation by choice or are we required to incarnate? It is it possible to grow in spirit over incarnation since we are infinite beings? There's no rush to learn since we exist forever. Okay. Let's talk about this reincarnation for a little bit because when we start to say that there is no choice, then that kind of goes into those prison planet kind of discussions, which I don't really believe in. I don't think that that's true. So the only thing I can kind of relate this to is talking about free will. So, on a soul level, you are bestowed with free will. On a human level, as a soul in a human body, people can take our free will all the time, right? People can steal from us, people kill other people, people do things that they shouldn't, and it's a violation of our free will and they do it. But on the other side, we are these eternal, magnificent beings who never would, never could violate anybody else's free will. And part of the reason we can't violate free will is because, again, you think that you're the individual you because you're here in this experience right now with an ego and an identity. But on the other side, I think that we can get back into my three trilogy movie explanation of how these things can all be true but different at the same time. But on the other side, when you are your higher self, you are part of the collective and nobody would violate anybody's free will. But I was on a journey a year ago and I had Blaze, my dog, was a brand new puppy. She was like 8 weeks old and she had just gotten into that puppy biting stage. She had needle teeth. And I was coming back from this journey into my human body, and I am like vibrating with this magnificent power that I have when I'm coming back from the other side of one of these journeys. And my first thought was, oh, Blaze is in the car. I'm so powerful right now. I could actually will her to not puppy bite me. And it was almost like lightning struck. It was kind of like that's what it didn't have any physical feeling to it, but that was the energy that I felt. And the instant knowing was if you take away free will, you negate the game. That was the word that was used. You negate the game. So free will cannot be taken away. So that being said, back to your reincarnation question, is anybody forced to reincarnate? I say no, but you're probably challenging me right now because if you've listened to any number of near death experiences, how many people were told that they had to go back? I want to kind of elaborate on somebody's human interpretation of they had to go back. I don't know that when we're on the other side that we get to bring back 100% of all of the experience that we had there. There are nuances that are beyond the human comprehension that happen on the other side. So it's very difficult to bring back all of the experience and all of the understanding. You'll hear people say that they expanded and there was nothing that they didn't know when they were on the other side. And yet they come back and you ask them questions about, well, what was this new enlightened material that you had access to? And what did you understand that you didn't understand as a human? And they were like, I don't remember, because there are things that we are not allowed to bring back because they would change our human game. So I think that for near death experiencers who are told that they have to go back, I don't think that that happens without the agreement of the higher self. I really don't. And as far as an incarnation, I think we willingly, joyfully, eagerly take on these incarnations over and over again, much the way that you would play a video game. So if you sat down to play a video game, you knew that if your character died once, twice, three times, it didn't really affect you at all. Maybe you lost some points. So I don't know how the whole way that video games work, but you could lose things, but not really lose any of you. So if you knew that you could go and have an experience and it was just going to be a short commitment, you do it willfully, joyfully, because there's some aspect of it that you get something out of it, whether it's just the experience or other things that we just don't understand. So the answer to your question is that no, I do not think anybody is ever in like forced to or required to come back. I think that when you are that soul version of yourself and you're not the collective, you're not the one thing, then you do whatever you desire with the time that you have on the other side. And I don't think that you would ever not come here willingly. So I hope that answers your question. I will say with this, and I haven't said it tonight, but I say this a lot in my videos. Please, please, please. I'm talking about very, very deep concepts. Please take in what resonates. Check in with you. How does it feel when I say something? If it doesn't feel like truth for you, if it doesn't feel right, if it disagrees with something that you've experienced, that you've learned, that you know, that you understand, that's okay. Take in what resonates, leave behind what doesn't. But check in here, like check in your heart space and make sure that things make sense here. Check in like in your gut and make sure that things feel good in this place as you are deciding what you're going to take in that somebody else, anybody else says. And remember that you are the best guide. You are so powerful. You have all the answers, even if you don't feel like you're that evolved. Trust me, you are probably 10x more evolved, especially if you're already here. Like, obviously, if you're here, you are awake. So, trust yourself, learn to go within. It is one of the messages that I have been given over and over again as I have had my experiences, to trust more inside and not to look for the answers outside. It's great that you're here. It's great that we can connect. I think community is so important, and it is worth time and exploration, and you're going to change and you're going to grow and you're going to take in new concepts, and you're going to be a different person in 6 months or a year than you are right now, because of everything that you've consumed, because of everything that you've thought about, because of everything that you now know. We're all on this journey, and you get out of it whatever you want to get out of it. And the people who aren't awake, that's okay. That's their experience. That's what they chose to experience. Maybe it was never their purpose to come here and wake up. So everything is evolving for everybody perfectly. So I think that it's really good to think about. Thank you for all the hearts for that. Oh my God, how awesome. I love it. All right, I'm going to finish up these comments because we are at an hour right now, and I don't want to take up all your time. And you guys, I still have to edit tonight. So, all right, here we go. I'm way back here. So Nat said, when Kara said one of her purposes was to learn what touch was, would that mean that from the soul perspective, it knows of touch but wants to learn the experience of touch? She said that she's just trying to experience differently all of the aspects and nuances. And so, in order to have more perspective, she's asking the question because she wants to hear what others think about that. So, on the other side, oh, how do I explain this? On the other side, because most recently my experiences have been of the all of the source of the magnificence, I will tell you this: there are no arms. It doesn't exist. Everything, the power of the source, the all, the everything is all thought creation. There's nothing except for thought creation. But the power of that being is beyond magnificence. It's like trillions and trillions and trillions of times more powerful than you can imagine. It's knowledge beyond knowledge beyond knowledge, wisdom beyond wisdom. So what it's really doing, what it's really wanting to experience, how all of these things work, I only understand certain perspectives of the human part, but the one thing I absolutely know beyond a shadow of doubt is that the all, the one, is only one thing having this magnificent experience, and it's powerful, and it's just beyond description. It's in a state of being of love, in a state of being of a present, ever present, perfect moment. It doesn't desire anything. It doesn't need anything. I think it does things for the joy of it. That's it. I really, really believe that. Okay, let's see here. Oh my gosh, you guys are really, you're heating these up. Let's see. Zen says, thank you. Thank you very much. You are so welcome. I'm happy to do all this. Juan says, it's not the same. No. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Tammy. Hi, Tammy. Late, but one is, oh, thank you. Enjoy my vacation. It's really not a vacation. This is just a state of being where I am right now. I'm here until September. So this is my existence for right now. So I am a little bit downtime, but I'm still working the channel, and I will be here, and I will continue to be here every Wednesday. I've blocked myself off, and it's 8 o'clock my time. It's 9 o'clock my time. It's actually still light outside where I am. Isn't that crazy? I'm actually going to take Blaze for one more hike when we're done, and then I'm going to edit. So thank you, Bliss, that you love the perspective. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are talking to each other. Tammy said, I heard a strange theory about energy. I forgot the name of it. That Source was using us like a gardener to take it. Creepy. I just want your soothing opinion. Tammy, I assure you, you are the all. As soon as we say other, we have misunderstood what it is. There is only one thing, call it source, call it God, call it universe, call it anything you want. I like magnificence because that's what it felt like to me. I didn't have any ego and there was no other. It is just beyond your comprehension, but make no mistake, it is you. I'm going to explain this again. I know people love to use this explanation, and I'll tell you why I don't like it. People love to say that God is like the ocean, and we as souls are drops in the ocean. But the problem with that explanation is that you can take a drop completely out of the ocean. You could take it to the desert, you could take it anywhere. It's no longer connected to the ocean. It still is the ocean, right, in a drop, but it's no longer connected to it. And so I don't like that explanation. What I like to say is that source is the ocean and we are a wave. There will never, ever be another wave that is unique in the way that you are unique. You rise up, you have this experience, you go back down, and you are it again. You are all it. It is still connected to you. It is never not you. The reality is, Source is looking out of your eyes, having an experience of you. It's not the other way around. You are not having an experience that is somehow being fed to Source. It is you in a perspective as a wave, as this unique aspect of itself on this earth for the joy of the experience, I believe. I do not have all the answers. I wish I did, but there are certain things that I know, like down to the fiber of my being, because they are my experiences. So, Tammy, you do not need to worry. There is nothing using anything. It is only one magnificence. And it's you, all of you watching, every single one of you. I hope that helps. It was painful physically when I was trying to re-enter my body one time, but not in a few others. Oh, interesting. Bliss said, I think I came to be with my mom, similar to how you reluctantly go to the store to spend time with the one you love, not because you want to go to the store. I agree. I believe that we absolutely have a full human experience as a soul, and we have all these experiences we come here to do. We have people, other souls that we contract with. And it is, again, what I describe in the movie trilogy, the 3-movie trilogy. This is movie 1. You are having the human experience. Just because there is a movie trilogy 3 where there is a source that is all, doesn't take away or make less important the movie trilogy 1. It's still all builds on the story to ultimately become the one. So there's nothing that's ever wasted or not with purpose and intention in having this earthly experience for sure. Okay. Donna saying hello, appreciate. Yes, this has been very deep tonight, hasn't it? Thank you for everybody. I think everybody's just saying thank you. See if there's any other questions in here. Thank you. Thank you. Touch is any interaction with other souls, touch, words, looks, and anything else that could affect others. Absolutely. Everything we do has a ripple effect on everybody else. So everybody is sending love. We are one, and that is it. So I think with that, I'm going to end this conversation. I want to leave you with this thought. As always, I want to say to you, thank you. This show is absolutely nothing without all of you who tune in to watch, to listen, and share these experiences. You guys are awake, which means that you need to be in service in some way. of helping others to wake up as well. And that can be just by being kind and just being you. It doesn't have to be anything that's grand or out of your comfort zone, but we now are here in service and we are all connected and we are all one. So thank you, all of you, for your beautiful thoughts, for your beautiful energy, for your beautiful wishes, and for creating such a wonderful community. I am so blessed to have met you and for you to be interacting and on this channel. So thank you everything for you and what you do. And do not forget that you are the most beautiful, powerful, magnificent souls. I send love to every single one of you. And I will look forward to connecting with you all in the comments over the next week and also on the live next Wednesday. So thank you all for joining. Have a great night.